The question hit me like a slap. Why should I hide in my own home for people I don't even know? I stood at my kitchen window, staring out at the pristine cul-de-sac of Willow Grove, where the HOA's iron grip shaped every blade of grass. My name is Lena Carter, a 28-year-old graphic designer who moved here 3 months ago for a fresh start after a messy divorce. I rented a modest bungalow, charmed by its rose trellis and quiet charm. But I never signed up for the HOA's suffocating rules. I wasn't a member. I didn't know them anything. Yet, there was HOA Karen, yes. That HOA Karen marching across my lawn like she owned it. Her floral dress billowing. Her voice already barking orders before she even knocked. Lena, you're staying inside today. No exceptions. VIPs are touring the neighborhood, and we need it flawless. Her tone was razor sharp, her chins quivering with authority as she stood on my porch, flanked by 2 HOA enforcers in matching navy polos, their eyes hidden behind sunglasses. I cracked the door open, heart pounding. I'm not in your HOA. Karen, I'm going to the store. Her face twisted, a storm brewing in her eyes. You'll do as I say, or there'll be consequences. I should have known HOA Karen wasn't just a nickname whispered behind her back. She was the HOA president, a self-appointed queen who ruled Willow Grove with a clipboard and a vendetta. Neighbors cowered at her name, swapping stories of her tirades over untrimmed hedges or unauthorized mailbox colors. I'd laughed it off, thinking I could stay under her radar. I was wrong. That morning, as I grabbed my keys and reusable grocery bags, Karen's voice boomed again through the screen door. Lena, don't test me. The VIPs are investors, and they're deciding if Willow Grove gets a community center upgrade. No one's ruining this. I stepped onto the porch, defiance bubbling up. I'm not hiding for your investors. Karen, I have a life. Her eyes narrowed, and one of the enforcers, a burly guy named Greg, stepped closer, his shadow falling over me. You're making this harder than it needs to be, he growled. My pulse raced, but I held my ground. I'm not a member. You can't control me. The standoff escalated faster than I expected. Karen's voice rose, shrill and venomous, drawing neighbors' faces to their windows. You think you're special. Lena, you're a renter, not even a real resident. You'll do what I say. I clutched my grocery bag, my knuckles white, and shot back. You don't own me. Karen, this is my home. That's when Greg grabbed my arm, his grip tight enough to bruise. I yanked free, stumbling back, my heart hammering as Karen smirked. You'll regret this, she hissed. The other enforcer, a wiry man with a clipboard, started jotting something down, muttering about fines and eviction notices. I felt the neighborhood's eyes on me, a mix of pity and fear. But no one stepped forward. I was alone. Then came the twist I didn't see coming. As I turned to head back inside, shaken but determined to leave, my neighbor Mrs. Elisa, a quiet widow who'd always kept to herself, stepped out of her house. Her frail frame trembled, but her voice was steady. Karen, let her go. You've gone too far. The air shifted. Karen's head snapped toward Mrs. Ellis, her face a mask of fury. Stay out of this. Margaret, she spat. But Mrs. Ellis didn't back down. I've got photos, Karen, of you and Greg bullying tenants, threatening fines you can't legally enforce. I've been watching for years. My jaw dropped. Mrs. Ellis, the woman who barely spoke, had been documenting Karen's reign of terror. Karen's confidence faltered, her eyes darting to Greg, who looked suddenly pale. The clipboard guy froze, pen in midair. For a moment, I thought I'd won an ally. But Karen's next words chilled me. You're both done here. The confrontation exploded into chaos. Karen lunged toward Mrs. Ellis, her voice a screech. You're lying. You old hag. Greg grabbed my arm again, harder this time, dragging me toward the street as I shouted for him to let go. Mrs. Ellis stood her ground, holding up her phone, its screen glowing with what I assumed were the photos. Neighbors spilled onto their lawns. Phones out. Some recording. Others whispering. I twisted free from Greg, my grocery bag spilling apples across the grass. You can't touch me, I yelled, my voice raw. Karen's face was crimson, her authority unraveling as Mrs. Ellis spoke louder. I'm sending these to the city council. Karen, you're not untouchable. The enforcers hesitated, caught between Karen's orders and the growing crowd. I saw fear in Karen's eyes, for the first to me a crack in her armor. But Karen wasn't done. She rounded on me, her voice low and venomous. You think you can humiliate me? Lena, you're nothing here. She gestured to the enforcers, who stepped forward again, their presence menacing. I backed toward my porch, my heart racing. But Mrs. Ellis's voice cut through the tension. Enough. Karen, I've already sent the photos to Councilman Rivera. Check your email. Karen froze, her phone buzzing in her pocket. She pulled it out, her hands shaking as she read something that drained the color from her face. The enforcers exchanged uneasy glances, their loyalty wavering. I seized the moment, stepping forward. You're done bullying people. Karen, I'm not hiding, and I'm not leaving. The crowd murmured, emboldened, a few neighbors shouting, let her be. Karen's empire was crumbling, and she knew it. The showdown reached its peak as Karen's composure shattered. She screamed at the crowd, you're all ungrateful. I made this neighborhood perfect. But her words were drowned out by the growing chorus of dissent. Greg dropped my arm, muttering an apology under his breath, and the clipboard guy backed away, his notes forgotten. Mrs. Ellis stood tall, her phone still raised like a weapon. I realized then that this wasn't just about might, was about everyone Karen had intimidated, every neighbor she'd silenced. The photos Mrs. Ellis had weren't just of me. They were a catalog of years of abuse, from fake fines to threats against tenants like me who dared to defy her. The crowd pressed closer, their voices rising, demanding answers. Karen's reign was over, and she could feel it. Her collapse was swift and brutal. As the neighbors' accusations grew louder, Karen's bravado melted into panic. She stammered, trying to deflect, but no one was listening anymore. A police car rolled into the cul-de-sac, lights flashing silently, summoned by a neighbor who'd had enough. Karen's eyes widened as an officer approached, asking about the disturbance. Mrs. Ellis calmly handed over her phone, explaining the photos, the threats, the illegal fines. Karen tried to interrupt, her voice shrill, but the officer raised a hand, silencing her. Greg and the other enforcer slipped away, abandoning her. I watched, stunned, as Karen's empire crumbled in real time. She was escorted to the police car, not in cuffs, but defeated, her head bowed as neighbors whispered her downfall. In the days that followed, Willow Grove transformed. The HOA board, shamed by the scandal, held an emergency meeting, and Karen was ousted. Mrs. Ellis became an unexpected hero, her quiet courage inspiring others to speak up. I started a petition to reform the HOA, making it optional for renters like me, and it gained traction fast. Neighbors who'd once avoided me brought casseroles, apologizing for staying silent. I realized they'd been just as trapped by Karen's tyranny as I was. One evening, sitting on my porch with Mrs. Ellis, I thanked her. She smiled, her eyes crinkling. I was tired of being afraid. Lena, you gave me a reason to fight. Her words hit me hard. A reminder that courage ripples outward, even from the smallest acts. Looking back, I see that day as a turning point not just for me, but for all of us. I'd moved to Willow Grove to escape my past, but I found something better, a voice. I wasn't just a renter anymore. I was part of a community that had learned to stand together. Karen's orders to stay home for her precious VIPs had sparked a rebellion. One that reminded us all that no one can control your life unless you let them. I still walk to the store whenever I want, my head high, knowing I fought for that freedom. And every time I pass that wooden signpost on the corner, its carved words faded but defiant, HOA ordered me, I smile. It's not just a sign. It's a victory.